James Sparrow.
That's you.
United States Marine, Vietnam. 3-7? 3-7. Grunt. Who will read the annual poem of names.
Afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
At least half the people in this room have heard me read this poem for the last 20 years. And the other half have never heard it. So that's why I'm going to read it again today. But I do promise you that next year I will bring some new stuff. It'll give me something to live for, you know what I mean? But this poem, this reading is about the time I spent in Washington, D.C. in 1982 when we dedicated the Vietnam Veterans Memorial down there. My wife and I, my cousin James Morelli and his wife, who was pregnant at the time, we went down there. We spent a week down there. It was incredible. There was one hotel where all the Marines gathered. There were reunions all over the place. There was a reading in the National Chapel from the altar. I happened to be privileged to be one of the guys. I read 500 and something names off the altar in that chapel of guys who got killed in Nam. And at the end of the week, we all had this massive parade down Constitution Avenue, and we dedicated the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. But that's what this piece is about, and it's called Names. In the season of the fall, we rendezvoused in '82 in the city of the Commander-in-Chief. For a week long, 250,000 strong. Some came silently and solo. Others came with fanfare and entire families. It was to be the great gathering. This time we would be heard, and we would march in the streets. It belonged to us, that city, that week. Many came still whole and still very strong. Others came weak from fierce firefights far off the battlefield. Some came missing an arm, a leg, an eye, paralyzed. We came to honor those who filled our ranks no longer. We would bury our dead with dignity in perpetuity. A chevron 500 feet long, a monumental black marble memorial etched with the names of those who now marched with that vast army in the sky. Names 57,939. This would be their shield that we bore their bodies home on, as befitting the warriors they were. We came to see, hear, touch the names. We came in tight-fitting uniforms, faded field jackets, three-piece suits. We came from the big cities and the small towns. We came from the low valleys and the mountains. We came from the farmlands, the rangelands, the woodlands. We came with long hair, short hair, clean-shaven, bearded. No longer did we look the same as we had when we talked the talk and walked the walk. Up all night in fancy hotel bars, intricate handshakes that dazzled the eye and ear, laughing, crying, hugging, kissing. Crowded conversations cluttered the ear. Semper Fi, airborne all the way. Anyone here served with 37 and 67? Hey, remember me? Man, am I glad you made it back. All this time I thought you got zapped. What happened after I rotated? Did Short Round make it back? Glasses clink with arms held high. A midnight toast. Here's to the best there ever was and those of us that are left. We were still young but old beyond our years, for we had walked in the footsteps of giants. Now we gathered to see, hear, touch the names, to dedicate, consecrate our name-laden marble memorial. For 3 days before, A vigil we held by the light of candles in the National Cathedral. From the altar, read aloud, names 57,939. More than 100 of us read the names. Friends and family members from thousands of miles away. They came to hear the names of a buddy, brother, lover, son, husband. It was my turn in the evening of the second day to read aloud names. Every pew full, standing room only, a solemn task. I know on the altar a velvet pillow beneath my knees, a sea of faces assembled before me. Names, 523 names, I read aloud. The first was Kozakowski, Gerald A. The last was Lana, Gary W. I read a name and receive a reaction, from soft murmurs to hysterical pain. I became those names, all 523. Kahuinu, Moses I, Koskovich, Michael L., La Chance, La Chapelle, La Claire, La Fleer, La Rosie, Lackley, Lackland, La Boski, Lafferty. I read 2 Lafayettes, 3 Kowalskis, 7 Lacey's, 7 Crafts, 10 Krugers, and 12 Kramers. Arthur, Dennis, Douglas, Howard, James, John, Joseph, Kevin, Leon, Raymond, Robert, and Stephen Kramer. Each name opening wide the mind's eye of memory of who they were and who they could have been. A man in a wheelchair, Medal of Honor gracing his neck, wept. With the sound of some names, flowers were dropped at my knees. Mothers kissed me, fathers touched me, sisters and lovers hugged me. Brothers and buddies shook me. Names, Krantz Jr., William F. His mother stopped me when she heard his name. Tears in her eyes with a simple request. My signature next to his name. I humbly oblige. Teardrops from hundreds of eyes tug at my soul. My mind is flooded with the pain of so many names. My knees ache, my body shakes, finished. I need a hand just to stand. At week's end, we walk in the sun, marching along together again. Thousands of feet hitting the pavement, not in unison at all. The same feet that waded the paddies in Quaison and climbed the hills in the Central Highlands. The same feet that clambered out of choppers, and the same such feet that flew those birds and drove those trucks and built those bridges and stood endless watch against the terror of the night. Short-timers' canes, little American flags waved high, held in the hand. Sons and daughters perched high on shoulders that bore the burden. Chanting, shouting while feet strode down the avenue. I don't know, but I've been told streets in heaven are paved with gold. Vietnam vetting, damn proud. Pick up your head and hold it high. 5th Marines are passing by. Big Red One, Tropic Lightning, GI Beans, GI Gravy, GI wish I joined the Navy. God bless America. I know a girl who lives on the hill. She won't kiss me, but her sister will. Sound off, 1, 2, sound off, 3, 4, bring it on down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. A high school band plays when Johnny comes marching home again. Hoorah, hoorah. A parade of emotions down Constitution Avenue to the end of the mall, where our wall mirrors reflections and contains the names. Boat people, refugees, Vietnamese line the top of the wall, a banner in hand proclaiming brightly, "Thank you, Vietnam veterans, for defending freedom and democracy." Speechless dignitaries give speeches, an overdue tribute to those who performed well in the most trying of circumstances. We came to bury our dead with dignity in perpetuity. We need no tribute. We know who we are. We are the men of Bedford, Exeter, Warwick, Talbot, Salisbury, and Gloucester, that fought alongside Harry the King upon St. Crispin's Day. We are that same band of brothers that stood defiantly at Lexington, conquered the Argonne, sweated on the canal, chilled to the bone in the bulge, and froze in the reservoir known as Chosen. Speeches, we listened, standing, pressed together, elbow to elbow, asshole to belly button. We are one, our souls stitched tightly together with the thick twine of shared experience. We dedicate in a moment of silence, then a surging forth in a search for names. It's done, it's there for all the world to see, hear, touch. The names, 57,939. Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. I'm glad you went back and got your glasses.
Oh, I forgot my glasses when I had to go back home and get them. Forget it.
All right, next we're going to move into, you hear me say this every year, well, at least the last 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. We die twice in this world. Once when we put you in the ground, and once when we stop talking about you, right? So with that, I'm going to lead into Eddie Coley, who's got some words to say that reference around that and what Sparrow just spoke about.
So I'm going to ask everybody to be a little patient with me. Scott, I might need you to agree something.
So you got it, brother.
Happy birthday. That's the first one. How about it? 250 years, right?
Woo!
Of pure death and destruction. I would like to take a moment on the 250th birthday of the Marine Corps to honor my brother. I know he would have loved to be here to celebrate with us. Sorry. 2 years ago, my brother Josh, who is the youngest of 3, lost his battle with a traumatic brain injury that he sustained in Iraq on July 5th, 2005. Josh was in Anwar province, Iraq. He was an 1833 Amtrak crew chief. He was riding in the turret. His unit was moving through a town on a heavily traveled road. At the time, the insurgents utilized piles of debris, old cars, etc., to mask IED explosives they would set up on the sides of the roads. My brother told me the last thing that he remembered was seeing someone run away from the pile of debris on the side of the road, and out of the corner of his eye, he thought to himself, oh shit. Then the worst case scenario happened, an explosion that severely damaged and flipped the 26-ton Amtrak on its side on fire. My brother's crewman pulled him from the burning wreck. For those of us here who were also Amtrak crewmen, there's a couple of us here today. Imagine trying to get a 6'6", 250-pound Marine out of the turret while the vehicle burns and you do not know where the enemy is. Fast forward, they airlifted my brother out of Iraq and eventually to Germany. They flew my mother over to Germany to collect my brother. I used the word collect on purpose. They had no intention or hope that he would survive, but he did. They then flew him from Germany to Bethesda, Maryland, where they did not expect him to survive, but he did. A week after his arrival in Bethesda, Lance Corporal Vanderheyden took the drive with me to see him, and as we stood outside the hospital, I told Scott, there is nothing that I can say to prepare you for what you're about to see. For the next 18 years, with the help of my mother, amazing doctors in Bethesda, and physical therapy, my brother worked his way back to someone who could walk, talk, remember, and live life. The community and his church loved him. It was an exceedingly difficult road. Josh would tell everybody that he talked to, he would do it all over again. He loved the Marine Corps and he loved this country. Josh was my perspective moment. There is nothing that I could encounter in life that would be worse than what he survived and dealt with every day, all with a smile. On October 6, 2023, Josh had a seizure that caused brain bleeding, probably from the shrapnel that riddled his brain the doctors could not remove. I flew down to be with my mom during that time at the hospital, and I had to make this difficult decision to help Josh pass on October 22nd at 09:26. Before the Marine Corps, Josh was a deputy sheriff in Pasco County, Florida. He was also a sniper for the sheriff department. He saved several lives during his service as a deputy. For example, they were doing a drug bust and one of the officers was shot. When they breached the door, Joshua shot the perpetrator and saved the officer's life. When 9/11 happened, my brother felt he needed to enlist and serve the country beyond being a deputy sheriff. Josh was a Marine Corps reservist, and I used to tease him that I was the real Marine because he was just a weekend warrior. Brothers fuck with each other. It's a rite of passage for the older brother, for everybody that has younger siblings. He would then tell me, fuck you, we went to the same boot camp, and that he outranked me because he was a sergeant and I was just a corporal. The truth is, my brother was the real Marine. He was selfless and loved this country and reminded everybody he would do it all over again. I say his name every day. I'm not going to allow my brother to die twice on my watch as long as I live. I belong to a motorcycle club called the NAM Knights. We're a veteran and police organization. We do outreach to help veterans, first responders, and police in need. For the last 6 years, I've gone down to DC for Memorial Day weekend to honor the fallen. We go to the Vietnam Wall, we go to Police Memorial, and a few other memorials in the area. Last year, we found a young man named Connor, age 16, who is creating dog tags for fallen military. He is starting with the Vietnam War. He plans to make dog tags for every fallen military service person from every war and conflict. He accepts donations that are then donated to people in need. The deal with the dog tag is that if you accept the dog tag, you will say that person's name and remember that person. The Marine's name that I have been entrusted with remembering is Langdon Gates Burwell, from Woods Hole, Massachusetts, born June 13th, 1944, gave his life to our country, age 24, February 3rd, 1968. Leslie and I went to DC for the Memorial Day ride with the motorcycle club this past Memorial Day. When we looked up Langdon on the wall, he was not where he was supposed to be. It made me think for all those years, they had him recorded in the wrong spot on the wall. Who was saying his name? Did they give up trying to find him on the wall? We did find Langdon. He was just a few rows off. And we had it corrected in the register at the wall. And now I have the honor of carrying his dog tag and saying Langdon's name regularly to make sure that he does not die twice during my lifetime. I want to thank Sergeant Sparrow for writing names. It has always spoken to me, but now it speaks to me a little bit louder and a lot more clear. Take time to say someone's name that has passed. In honor of the Marine Corps birthday, I would like to say these names. These are all military. Joshua Cooley, United States Marine Corps, Iraq. Norman Douglas Williams, United States Marine Corps. Lee Mills, United States Marine Corps, Iraq. Jeff Harrison, United States Marine Corps, Iraq. Gary Heisman, United States Marine Corps, Iraq. Ronnie Smith, United States Army. Edward Monahan Jr., United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Terry Ball, United States Marine Corps, Iraq. Langdon Burwell, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Edmund Cooley Sr., United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. John Molnar, Army Air Corps, World War II. John Cooley, Army, World War II. Peter DePasquale, United States Marine Corps, World War II, Iwo Jima. And Ernie Francavilla, United States Marine Corps, Korea. Semper
Nice.
Fi. That young man that's making these dog tags. The name of his what he's doing is We Will Remember. There's 2 QR codes here if you want to scan them, and there's a little blurb about what he's doing for the dog tags.
This past Monday, Charles, where are you, man?
Charles is gone.
All right, so Charles, yep, there you go. And during that ceremony, there was a point where people were just calling out names of people that had passed away, right? That U.S. Marines that were killed in action. And one of the names that was called out, which caught my fucking attention, was Terry Ball, which he just mentioned. Do you know him?
I served with him when he was Sergeant Paul.
Holy shit. I'm going to tell you a story right now that these guys have heard before. When we went to see his brother at Bethesda, Terry Ball was in the next room. And I met his wife, and I met his kids, and his wife told me a story, and it was fucking amazing. It blew my mind. So I'd like to talk to you more about that guy, because he was fucking goddamn hero. Yeah, he was a badass motherfucker. But that's crazy that, was it you that mentioned his name on Monday?
Yes.
And then he just mentioned his name.
Visited him at Arlington 6 weeks ago.
Did you? So I saw him at Bethesda in ICU. That's fucking crazy. So I want to talk to you about that later. Cool, thank you. All right. All right, next we're going to go into the Commandant's message. Oh, no, excuse me. Let's talk about this clown. Eddie Melfi. Love this guy. Eddie Melfi, he passed away this year. And he led a life of service for the nation, for his city, for his schools. He served as a U.S. Marine, a Stanford police officer, and then after that, he served the schools within the community of Stanford. An amazing person, a pillar of the community. I want to recognize him today for everything that he's done. And with his passing, it was sad just a few months back, but he passed on those characteristics to his daughter, Lisa, who now does the same things that he used to do. So that tradition has continued. So super proud of this guy. Miss him. He was a hardcore Marine. I mean, the last couple things out of his mouth before he passed away were about the Marine Corps. So I felt it fitting to recognize him. He's a lifelong life member of this post and contributed significantly to this post over the years. So, to Eddie Melfi. All right, I'm gonna kick up this video of the 250th from the Commandant. I'm looking at my wife. Where's the cake?
It's in the fridge.
Put your hand on it. And just make one slice.
Nice.
There's a whole process and ceremony behind that whole thing, but because we're with Delta, 2nd A, Battalion.